Hey everybody, I'm Mama Baird and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be cooking up some everyday meals that I make for my family. I have a goal of getting some of this older meat out of my freezer, so you're going to see that reflected in this video. I'm pulling out some meat that should have been used up last year, to be honest. So it's still good, but it's time to get it out of the freezer. First thing we're going to do is prep some potatoes that we are going to use for several of these meals throughout the week. And I'm going to pull some things out of the freezer that we need to use up. Before we get into the cooking, please make sure to give me a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Every like, comment, share really helps support me and my channel. Thank you so much. All right guys, let's get into the kitchen and let's see what I whip up. I'm going to start out by baking a full tray of potatoes. These are russet potatoes. I'm just going to stick them in the oven for about an hour. And then I have this flank steak stuffed with provolone, cheese, spinach, and tomatoes, or those are red bell peppers. I had this frozen and I thawed it, and it kind of has this weird look about it, but I'm like, maybe it's just because the cheese was frozen and thawed, so I'm going to go ahead and just throw it in the air fryer. I'm going to cook it for 10 minutes, and then we'll see what it looks like. I don't really do stuffed rolls too often, but this was one of the things that I got from the food bank. It kind of had some goo coming out of the bottom of it, but I think that was just the melted cheese kind of mixed with the water from the vegetables, but I decided to cook it just a little longer. I probably could have flipped it over. That would have helped. So I'm going to cook it for 3 more minutes. Meanwhile, I'm going to work on my side. I have some pre-cooked peppered bacon bits here. I'm going to throw that in a pan, and then I'm also going to put a little extra more regular bacon grease on there because I had par cooked them, so they don't have much grease left in them. So since I'm going to be using this to flavor the green beans as well, I wanted some extra bacon grease in there. So we're going to go ahead and let this cook for a couple of minutes, just until it has warmed up a bit, the bacon has crisped up a bit, and then we are going to add our green beans. These are just the mixed cut odds and ends pieces green beans. We're going to give this a toss and just let that cook. Another thing that would be good to add to this is onion. I don't have any cut on hand, so I'm going to skip that. I did add some salt, and then I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder as well to that. Now it's time to check back on this flank steak. It's been cooking for the 17 minutes. Some of it looked okay, but some of it did not look done. I pulled the string out of it. Do you guys have any tips for those who, if anybody uses this a lot, like the stuffed ones, a good way to cook this? Maybe baking it would have been better. I'm not sure. But it turned out okay. It was just okay. Like, there wasn't much flavor to it. I ended up salting all of the meat once I had it cut up. I saved the outer pieces to go ahead and give to the kids, but the ones that were a little undercooked, I put those back in the air fryer just to get it cooked a little more. Now this is beef, so you can serve it pink. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like raw and chewy or anything in those parts to it. So this is what the plate ended up looking like. I just cut up some of those baked potatoes and then put butter on them and just kind of served like a side of potatoes with the green beans, and then we have our stuffed flank steak with a plop of ketchup, of course, and then I'm just sprinkling like some salt, pepper, and seasonings over the potatoes and the meat. And this was really good. The that one extra piece kind of looks funny. It looks like a pair of legs, like So I cooked that a little longer, and then the rest of those little pieces on the board, I cooked that longer, and that made a big difference. So this was really good. It was pretty good for just using what I have on hand and making a yummy dinner for the family. That flank steak was pretty interesting, wasn't it? Well, we're going to be making steak for this next meal as well. However, it's not flank steak, it's elk steak. That's right, we're cooking up elk. So let's get in there and let's see how I do it. We really like elk. It tastes a lot like beef. I'm going to be using this lemon vinaigrette that I have that I need to get used up, and I'm also going to put in some Who's Your Sister sauce. That's really great for beef and all kinds of meat, really, so I'm throwing it in there. Some salt, and then I have some lemon pepper. I'm going to use lemon pepper because I have the lemon vinaigrette in there, so it just kind of go with a lemon theme there. So this is going to kind of be my marinade for it. I'm just going to get that tossed around, get it soaking, and then I'm going to be working on my sides and everything while that is marinating. I have some different things of spinach. I wanted to show you what it looks like when your vacuum seal bag doesn't hold up. When it does, it makes a big difference. So that better one we're going to put back in the freezer. Alright, we're going to turn this cast iron on a 7, get it high. Here is the spinach. You saw the difference between the ones that broke and then the one that stuck. And then I have some of the potatoes that I baked here. I skinned them and I just threw them in the fridge, not covered, so they're a little dry. But we're going to end up throwing these in the air fryer and making fried potatoes. So we're having our elk steaks. I marinated this with some of that olive oil. It's like lemon vinaigrette that goes for a salad. I put that in here because it was really good for chicken, so I think it's going to go really well here with our elk. And then I added some salt and some lemon pepper. So that's going to be marinating a bit while our pan gets hot. And then while that's getting hot and stuff, we're going to cut up and dice our potatoes and get them tossed with some seasoning. And then after the elk is done, we will cook our spinach real quick. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so here are my potatoes all diced. I added some oil, salt, pepper, paprika, and garlic powder. And look at that, crispy potato, well, almost pretty crispy potatoes. Let's throw them in the air fryer. Whoa. That's a lot. Let's see if that'll work. We'll get these crispy frying. Alright, I added some bacon grease to my pan here. Now let's add our steaks. I have sirloin and then backstrap here. I'm going to put a lid on so it doesn't splatter too much, but I'm going to leave it cracked so the steam can come out. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cook my bacon or my spinach in here. I have some ground pepper bacon. I just kind of keep one open and add it to stuff throughout the week. So I'm going to add this to the spinach. Alright, so let's add our 2 packages here. This was a bunch of fresh spinach that I got that I just vacuum sealed. And then once you cook it, it'll wilt and everything. So if you're having fresh spinach and you need to save it, you can just vacuum seal it and throw it in your freezer. You do not have to cook it down. Alright, and then that water will, cook off and stuff, so just keep it as is. And then I have this French onion dip. And I think this will be good to add instead of like heavy cream and stuff and making a, like a cream sauce. I think I'll use this and make cream spinach with this dip. I think that's a good idea. That is sugar steaks. We're going to cook this to about medium well for the husband. Alright, let's do the same thing, steam that a little bit. You know, this little guy right here, I'm going to make for me because it's the thickest one. So I'm going to add some spicy slap your mama because I really like that spicy stuff with my steaks. Since I know this one's going to be for me, I'll make her spicy. And I like it medium rare. Just kind of letting these cook a little more. Oh, here's a little piece. Look at that. How tender that is. Mmm. Oh yeah. Alright, I'm just kind of pushing my spatula down, breaking it up. There we go, it's open a bit. Let's steam a little more. Alright, let this cook just a little more. This thin one will be nice for a medium well. And all of this is the elk that my husband got. I think that was 2 years ago, so it definitely needs to get used up. Oh, there we go. Alright, here's the potatoes halfway through. Let's give them a shake. Alright, keep them going. Alright, this one's gonna be done. Let that one go a little longer. Alright, this one's mine. She's gonna sear a little longer. Put some bacon grease in. Yeah. Okay. Is it unlocked now? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Please don't be playing in the van, honey. Alright, for this spinach, I'm waiting until a lot of this liquid gets cooked out so it's not on the bottom of the pan. And then I'm going to taste the spinach, see how it tastes, and then we'll add in some of our hell of a good dip. I might go ahead and taste one right now. Blech! I need seasoning. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and salt it. This will also help bring out some more of that the last of the moisture. And we're just gonna let this baby cook. Same thing here. Since these kind of have the vinaigrette on them, it made some liquid in here too, so you don't want too much liquid because you want it to sear, not steam and boil, you know. Look at these though, the juices. So that's like a rare to medium rare. This would be a mid-well and then medium. Once these rest, we'll cut into them, see what they look like too. Wow, what a difference salt made. Alright, let's add some of this dip. No, honey. We're about to have dinner. Oh. That tastes great. Now that our elk has been resting for a good 5 minutes, we are going to slice it. This is the one that I was shooting for medium well. It's about medium. The top's a little medium well, so it's not too bad. It's definitely something that the kids will eat. And then this one was the rare to medium rare. It is probably a little more on the rare side, but it was really good. And elk is one of the meats that you can eat pink. It's just like if you were to cook a beefsteak. And then I'm also making sure that I slice against the grain. That way, whenever it's getting eaten, it pulls apart very easily. For the kids, I'm going to turn it around and dice it as well, so that way it's a little easier for them to eat. And here is our plate: fried potatoes, creamed spinach, and elk steak bits. It was absolutely delicious. The kids ate every single bit, well, except the spinach. I'm the only one who likes the spinach, but hey, at least I tried. Elk is so tender, and it's one of those that it's lean, but it's kind of hard to overcook it. So if you have the opportunity to give elk a try, I really hope you do. It is my favorite game meat that I have tried so far. Now, for this next meal, my daughter absolutely loves meatloaf. She has been requesting it for a while, and I keep forgetting. But luckily for her, one of the things that I need to use up is one of my frozen meat mixtures of meatloaf. So let's get in there and let's see how I do it. I pulled this meatloaf from the freezer. The seal has broken, so it needed to get used up. This was from January of 24, so over a year ago, and it still was very good. It held up nicely. This is the one where I believe it is elk, pork, beef, ground bacon, and then I have stovetop in there, stovetop stuffing, as well as some fresh parsley, so that's those specks of green in there. This was really good, and Betty Jan's requesting meatloaf. That's been her favorite meal lately. So I'm just spreading it on my bar sheet pan and baking it kind of flat. We're going to bake it at 375 for about 35 minutes, It came out looking really good. I'm just going to spread some ketchup on it. Some people have suggested like ketchup with brown mustard or ketchup with brown sugar. That's been really good. I'm just doing regular ketchup, and sometimes you throw it back in the oven, but I just left it on there to warm up. And this is what it looked like. It was really good. I just made some instant mashed potatoes. I'm really impressed with this brand. They were super thick and fluffy. And then I just heated up some green beans in the microwave with some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And that's what we had. There is nothing better than a good old-fashioned plate of meatloaf. Now, my mom always ended up making meatloaf sandwiches out of the leftover meatloaf. That consisted of soft white bread, bunny bread to be exact, lots of mayonnaise, and a thick, cold slice of meatloaf right in the middle. Have you guys heard of that? I usually just heat it up and have meatloaf again, but as a leftover, what's something that you like to do with day old or leftover meatloaf? For these next couple meals, it's just something that's quick and easy. I'm gonna make some ham grilled cheeses, and then I'm also gonna make a tater tot casserole. So let's get in there and let's see how easy these couple of dinners were. This is going to be a ham and cheese grilled cheese. So I'm going to be putting some Texas toast down. I'm going to be putting, it's like a margarine on the side of it. I'm putting it on both sides because you want to make sure that you do crisp up and toast both sides. It makes a big difference in your grilled cheese. That's what we used to do in the restaurant. So I'm just going to put the ham down in between the slices to kind of get it working. And then once we flip the bread over, that's when we're going to add our cheese to that side, because you want it to be warm and toasty. Any kind of cheese would work. We have white American or pepper jack. This is just regular yellow American. It melts really well, so that's why I've used it. And then we're going to put our ham on top of it. And then sometimes I don't do a second slice of cheese, sometimes I do. So today I did. I had a lot of cheese, so we did 2 slices of cheese top and bottom, and then the ham in between. Sometimes I like to put pickles on it as well, or just serve the pickles on the side. So that is what it looked like. It was really good, and trust me guys, toasting the bread makes a huge difference. For tonight's dinner, I have some frozen hamburger here that I thawed using the defrost in the microwave. Worked pretty good. So this is pre-cooked, and then I freeze it, and then we're gonna add 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. This is a super easy throw together casserole. Let me see you casserole. To this mixture, I'm gonna add a little bit of Who's Your Sister sauce. That adds good flavor to beef. And then I'm also gonna add some garlic powder. That should be it. So it's just meat. And then the cream of soup. Alright, you're going to spread a thin layer. This is pretty thin. I always think it would be better with like double the filling, double the beef. But this will work for now. This will also help it cook faster, especially since that's already cooked, you know. And then we have 1 can of drained green beans. This is just like the mixed ends and bits here. Mixed green beans, yeah. Put that on top. Then our cheddar cheese. You could use whatever cheese you have on hand. Alright, and then you're going to cover the top in frozen hash browns. Alright, and this is going in a 400-degree oven for 25 minutes, and then we'll check it. We're going to sprinkle some iodized salt. So you just gotta very gently, okay? You don't want it all in one spot. Salt for the taters. And there we go. We're going to let this cool for probably about 5 minutes, and then we'll serve it up. It's pretty crunchy. Alright. Look at that. I think that looks pretty good. Once it cools down. Alright, and that is tater tot casserole. Sometimes simple is the best. And just like in those last couple of dinners, this next meal is simple yet delicious. We are having breakfast for dinner. or we might have had it for breakfast. I'm not sure, but it's a breakfast sandwich. Now, there is one unique item about this that you're going to want to get your hands on. Let's see what it is. I'm throwing the breakfast in here at the end because it is the best one. I'm going to be using some of this pre-cooked sausage that I got from Costco. I'm putting 9 on the grill. And then we have day-old Jimmy John's bread. Did you know that you can get one of these for 50 cents from your local Jimmy John's? It is amazing and it is really good. So I picked up 2 of them, so it cost me $1 for the sandwich loaf of these. One of them I cut into thirds, so that way 1 for each kid, and then the second one I cut into halves for me and husband. So I'm flipping the sausage over here. I love having this type of sausage. It cooks up really fast. It still has enough grease for you to be able to use it as flavor for the next thing you're going to be cooking. I'm just going to cook my scrambled eggs on my flat top here, which is a little tricky. You got to be quick because it can roll down the front there and you don't want them to burn, so you got to make sure that you're moving the eggs around fairly quickly. It takes but a minute to cook. We're going to get this flipped over. This is a lot easier than just frying 1 egg at a time. So we're just doing a bunch of scrambled eggs. I'm going to put the cheese on there to get it a little melty. I did end up putting the thing of scrambled eggs in the microwave to get the cheese melted better. And then I'm going to clean my grill a little bit here. I'm going to throw some water on, and then I'm going to throw some ice cubes. This is kind of a trick that we used in the restaurant industry to clean our flat top. You do want to make sure you're doing it while it's hot, because while the water boils, it releases all that carbon and crud that is built up on your grill. So that's one of the ways that I clean it if it gets kind of sticky and makes a mess of it. So now I'm going to toast the bread. I cut it where it doesn't go all the way through, but just enough. This bread's perfect for that. It's almost like it was made for sandwiches. And then once it's toasted, we're going to put mayonnaise on there. I'm a big mayonnaise lover on my sandwiches. And then we're going to take the sausages. I did 2 sausages per sandwich. Next time I need to make sure I cook 10 patties and not 9, because I only got 1 piece of sausage because I put 2 on everybody else's. Now that we got the sausage on there, we're going to put the scrambled eggs, put the cheese on there. And guys, this was so good. Everybody ate their whole entire sandwich and have requested this again. So I'm going to have to get back to Jimmy John's and get some of that 50-cent bread. All right, I gotta know, did you know about that Jimmy John's hack that it's only 50 cents for day-old loaf bread? Is that something that you've heard about? Have you tried it? It's legit here in Missoula, so I'm definitely going to be stopping by and getting those more often. I got some corned beef that I have sliced up. I need to make a Reuben, and I know it's not technically supposed to go on a Jimmy John's white loaf bread, but we might do it because that was absolutely delicious. Well guys, thanks for coming along and seeing what I cook up for my family when I'm digging through the freezer. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time on Mama Baird's.